Welcome to Massive Beers. My name is Matt. We do the beer stuff here. A little bit of smoke up in this piece in the form of Oxbow Brewing. It's their Sap Haus. Son, I'm actually been chomping at a bit to try this beer. If you don't belong on Facebook, there is a Facebook group called This Week in Rausch Beer. It is pretty much run by All About Beer Magazine / John Hall. And people post their smoky jams in there all the time. And I've seen this posted several times. We do get Oxbow stuff down here in New Jersey, but it's hit or miss. We don't really get their whole portfolio. It just seems like we get what they get. And not every place gets it. So there's a select place, a couple places that do. Every time I pop in, I see what they got. Lo and behold, there's this sucker. Let's dive into it. Sap Haus. It's a smoked lager with maple syrup. That's right, baby. Production time 6 weeks. So you're talking about 6-week lager. Keep cold. Enjoy within 1 year. On date here, we have canned from November 6th of 2023. So you take that. So, yeah, we're in March. Beginning of March 2024, so 12, 1, 2, 3. That's fine by me. 7%. Did not look at the ABV. Did not expect to be that big of a beer. Oh, this is wet because I dropped some. I had to wash these cans. Sap Haus is a smoked lager brewed with grade A new dark New England maple syrup. Okay. Let's see where this sucker lands. Yeah, it's been a minute since I've had a smoky jam. I'm really, really looking forward to it. I'm not gonna lie to you. So let's get this in the glass. Label-wise, it's actually fantastic. It's hitting all the marks for me. Gold, red, black. All the colors I dig so much. And a very cool art design. I do dig Oxbow's designs on their cans and bottles. Sometimes they're a little meh, sometimes they're This one is super A-OK. Probably one of my favorite ones they've done. Beer-wise, got in this big spot glass here. Definitely looks the part of a nice rich dark beer. Does it look like smoked beer? Sure. Can't really tell that by looks anyway, but it has that rich kind of mahogany-ish with a bit of amber in it kind of body, with the head coming off as like a khaki. Just north of that, maybe eking toward malt ball. Looks the part of a dark beer. Let's see him get a nose. Interesting nose, specifically because it's 7% ABV. Because it doesn't come off as a huge beer. 7% darker beer, maple syrup. You almost knee-jerk think you're going to get a little pastry vibes here. It's not the case. You're getting a little of that flabby bologna smoke a la Schlenkerler. That's the way the smoke's coming off. Not like peaty or anything like that. More like the fatty sausage kind of thing that I dig so much. And there's a subtle maple thing in there. Very, very gentle. Nothing in here is kind of grabbing you by the neck, 2x4ing you to the face. At least aromatically. But you can tell it's a smoke beer through and through. You can absolutely... I don't know why I don't do this. Why don't I put the can here and put the glass there? That makes more sense. I've been yelling at myself in my brain for like months. I'm like... Because I'm constantly going like this with the glass. Doesn't this make more sense? I think it does. But then... I don't want to block my oscilloscope. Goddamn. So, yeah. It has this nice flabby smokiness. Nice pop of that little bit of sweet maple in there. Little bit of roasted, toasted brown bready, almost with a subtle dollop of like unsweetened chocolate kind of maltiness to it. It smells interesting. Let's dive in. Cheers, y'all. I like this beer a lot. It might not be for the reasons you think, though. But we'll get into it. This is delicious. It's absolutely delicious. It's absolutely delicious because it's a really well-made beer. It's not delicious because it has maple syrup. It's not delicious because it's a smoked beer. It's just a really delicious beer that happens to have maple syrup and smoked malts in it. I'm trying to think, because you think, smoked beer, you automatically just default to Rausch beer. It's kind of a lazy way to kind of classify a beer. There's a decent bitter in here. I think you're getting it from hops, but I also think you're getting it from a nice roasted maltiness. There's definitely like a spiciness to it. It comes off very much like blackstrap molasses-y. And the way the spices comes off, though, think about making brown bread instead of brown sugar. You use like blackstrap molasses. That kind of spiciness coming off, like almost like a little sarsaparilla, something like that. And that's the part that really has me intrigued. And then sitting there in the background as a third or fourth player is both the smoke and the maple syrup. The smoke here, it's a smoke beer. You're not going to be confused with it being a smoke beer, but I will say this. If you gave this to somebody that says they don't really dig on smoke beers, I could see them really enjoying it. It's not overpowering. The smoke portion of the show isn't the hero of the beer here. It isn't the most important portion of the show. Now, you could sit here and give you like, well, this is a smoke beer on there. It should really be that. I'm just digging this for what it is, and I like that the smoke is an accompaniment to something a bit bigger, and it's working. Same thing with the maple syrup. I think a lot of breweries get a little too heavy-handed with maple syrup, and I'm eschewing even like the pastry stout people that just guzzle that stuff. And I'm talking about people in general, brewers in general. Maple syrup can be a very powerful weapon in a beer, and I think sometimes it can be a little bit too showy for its own good. Absolutely not the case here. When you combine that spiciness, that sarsaparilla spicy blackstrap molasses spiciness, and the smoke and the bittering of the beer, not that it would be hard to have that maple syrup become to the forefront, but it just tempers all that sweetness that maple syrup can bring and makes it just a little bit easier to manage. And I think it works out really, really well in this beer. You have this really cool, again, it's a smoke lager and maple syrup is what is written on the can, and that's what I'm drinking. But if I were to rewrite this beer description, what would I write? And this is me trying to describe the beer to you in the best way possible. I'd call it a hoppy porter, to be perfectly honest. That's kind of how it comes off to me. Maybe even like a Tamave Pivo, something along those lines, like a darker Czechy, darker Bavarian lager-ish kind of beer. Even though I'm pretty sure this is ale. This isn't. No, it's a lager. They said a smoke lager. I don't know why I even said that, because it doesn't have that crispy lager vibes. I think it has to do with the smoke and the maple syrup. But it has this kind of Tamave, Pivo, darker, Czechy kind of thing going on. But there's something a little bit roastier and creamy to it. That's why I want to lean towards a little bit of porter. So we go Baltic porter maybe. Hoppy Baltic porter with maple syrup and smoke malts. That's the way I would rewrite this beer. Because I don't think it's criminal to put those as the leaders in the clubhouse as far as what's on the can. I just think this beer has a lot to offer outside of those two ingredients that I think are worth talking about. I guess that's where we're doing it here, huh? That's delicious, to be honest with you. I mean, again, just to go back to the can, reading those words, I expect it to be a little smokier, I expect it to be a bit sweeter, but I really enjoy where this one landed. And honestly, probably one of my more favorite Oxbow beers that I've had. Because, not to liken it, well, I'm going to, but I was going to say not to liken it to pumpkin beers. So, pumpkin beers aren't good because they're pumpkin beers. Pumpkin beers are good because they happen to be really good beers that happen to be pumpkin beers. That's where this one lands for me. This, again, I said at the beginning, and when I mentioned it towards the end, it's not good because it's a smoked maple syrup beer. It just happens to have those ingredients in it, and it just so happens to be an absolutely fantastic beer. I think it's delicious. I think it's one of the better dark lagers that I've had. Not Rushmore status, just end sentence. If I had one of the better smoke beers, probably not, really, because it doesn't show that much smoked maple syrup. And same thing, it's, a third, fourth, even fifth player here. But as far as a dark lager goes, this is very, very good. So there we go. Review in the books, Mount Rushmore status, value and availability. It was pricey. I want to say this came in at like $18 for a 4-pack. 7%, I didn't read the ABV, so 7%, that little trade-off there doesn't make it as bad. But, it's Oxbow, it's in cans, it's down close to me, I'm not going to bitch. And leave you with, if you like what we like this. If you like Tamave Pivo, if you like Dark Czech Lager, if you like Hoppy Porters, and you are a fan of maple syrup and smoke, not in droves, but you like it to be there, I think you'd really enjoy this. So there you go. Review in the books. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. Oxbow, have you been to the brewery? Have you had their beers? Have you had this beer? What is your favorite beer from Oxbow? All that fun stuff I want to know down there. Hopefully you enjoyed the review. Hopefully you enjoyed a little bit of smoky jams right now. Hope to see you next time. Cheers, y'all.